I've never found that sitting down to write a song does anything. It never comes that way. It always just comes like when you least expect it, but you have to be open to it, I suppose. What I more need to do is have a routine to create the space for that to happen.
Hello, my name is Eline Perez and you're listening to Are You an Artist? Today's episode features Tootawl as we dive into the guitar, Johny Cash, songwriting, and the art of letting go when things just aren't working. It's a beautiful conversation with some live singing too, which always makes me very happy. Enjoy! Dear Richard, I remember seeing you walking around with a guitar, but it wasn't until I caught your performance at the Gladstone Arms that I truly realized how talented you are. The way you play and sing feels so natural, effortless, yet full of depth and richness. We've touched on this before in conversation, but I'm really glad to have you here today so we can explore your creative journey more deeply, how you write your songs, what inspires you, and what's capturing your interest these days. Thank you for joining me. So, Richard, tell me, are you an artist?
Wow. I would say yes, I am. Yeah, I am an artist. And thank you for that letter. That was beautiful. That was lovely. Wow. Yeah, I would say I'm an artist. And I think I feel a bit sad when people think that they're not an artist when they do make things, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, anybody who makes things is an artist, yeah.
And what kind of child were you?
Oh, what kind of child was I? That's an interesting one because on my parents' bookshelf at home, there's a book that they had from when I was a child called Raising Your Spirited Child.
So you were a spirited child.
Yeah, apparently. But I've kind of grown to be a very kind of chilled out person. I wouldn't say I'm that lively and that, I'm not like very loud or whatever. But I must have been as a child. And I was quite shy when I got to school age.
Mm-hmm.
But then I saw a home video of myself when I was maybe like very early school age or before school. And I was surprised at how I suppose spirited I was,
Mm-hmm.
how loud and expressive, or it wasn't how I remembered myself. You know what I mean?
So interesting.
It's weird, yeah. But yeah, school, I think early school definitely had an effect on me and made me really shy for a long time.
Oh.
Yeah.
So do you think school made you shy?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm the eldest child. So for a while I was the only one and I kind of, I suppose, ruled the roost at home.
Yeah.
But maybe going from that, like being the boss of the house at home, to being in a classroom with loads of like other loud kids, it must have threw me. I really remember being very, very quiet in school. Didn't say very much at all.
Where did you grow up again?
In Cork.
Okay.
In Ireland, yeah.
So it's not that small.
No, and I went to a country primary school, which had about 36 kids in my class. So it wasn't a big school by any means, but the classes were very big.
Yeah.
But it took me to discover performing, I think, before I truly kind of broke out of that shyness or that kind of, reservedness. I was always into music, but I started out actually in a kind of a drama school type of thing that my parents were kind enough to pay for me to go to see, because I was always interested in like speech and drama in school or whatever we would do it,
Yeah.
So I went to this thing that was like every Friday night. And I just loved it. I just came alive through it. I just realized what I could do, or it just felt like the right kind of way to express myself. And then, I went from there then to like performing in plays and pantomimes and stuff through that.
Wow.
And then around about the same time was learning guitar and then kind of lean more towards music then,
And how come you started learning the guitar? Was that you saw someone play? Or?
I was really into hip hop and like dance music and stuff a bit earlier on. Like obsessed with hip hop for years as a like very early teen or whatever. And I used to make some like hip hop beats on the computer, but
That's really cool.
I was very into music always, but like I was very aware that I couldn't play any instrument. You know, I didn't really feel.
I can make the beat. But...
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, but I couldn't play any bass line or whatever. But my music interest was all just that side of things, where like music was made electronically. But then I got into Johny Cash. A friend of mine gave me a Johny Cash CD, and it was just before the Walk the Line movie came out. And then, you know, there's a bit of a Johny Cash resurgence. But and my sisters had little kids' guitars. They'd one each, and they were the only guitars in the house. So I borrowed that and was just trying to noodle around.
Would they play together?
No, they didn't go very far. So the guitars were just like lying around. So I kind of picked them up. And then I think from there, then my uncle had a spare guitar that I borrowed for a while, learned a bit on that. And then eventually was like graduated to, I suppose, being bought my first guitar by my parents, which I still play to this day. It's the one I have over here. Yeah.
Oh.
But it took me to hear Johny Cash and then like figure out that I could like reproduce kind of what he was doing on the guitar, which was like amazing to be like, oh, I can make this happen here as well, you know. And then discovered Bob Dylan, and then it was just like, you know, Dylan obsessed for ages. So yeah, but it started out with acting and kind of theatre performing. Yeah.
Is that something you're still interested in today, or
not so much? I think I realized I was better at music than acting. I don't think it was bad, but it just like I didn't have the passion for it enough to want to
keep going,
do it that much. You know, like you know, if you want to be an actor, obviously it's I don't envy the people who are actors, working actors. It just sounds like such a slog of a time, you know. But I'm sure people say that about music too. But I think the difference is with music, I've got the need to do it, you know. I don't know what else to do.
And do you remember when you wrote your first song?
Do I? I think not really, because I was always kind of making stuff up, you know. I could probably remember like the first song on guitar, or the first like full set of lyrics I had, but there's no kind of like one first song, do you know? It was kind of a progression of...
So you were already kind of improvising and just...
Like, I mean, I was always making songs up in my head as a child.
Oh, wow.
Like, just little bits and pieces, and imagining one day I'd record them. So it would go from that to like making up a little chorus in my head as a child. And then a few years later, I might write a song, but it would be a full set of lyrics, but it wouldn't have any way to play it, or, you know, or I would write something to go with one of the beats I would make, but I would never actually perform them or anything like that. So it was always a progression of
quite gradual.
Yeah. So then by the time I got to the guitar, I was like, oh, I can kind of do it all now, you know. And I don't know what the first full song is that I wrote, but they were very Johny Cash inspired. And when I first started singing, it was very low. It was very deep, like Johny Cash's voice, because that was all I was listening to.
And would you just try to imitate the voice, or would you?
Yeah, so that's all I thought I could do, was to sing very deep, like Johny Cash would. And it took me a while to realize that I could actually sing higher as well, which is
You're like, what?
Yeah, and I think I've got some really old recordings of me at home that are so deep. I'm like, God, why am I? And I'm like 15 or something, and I'm singing way down here. Like, yeah. But yeah, so it's been a very gradual thing. Yeah.
And what did you study after school? Or did you study, or?
After, like when I finished up school, I did a music course for a year after secondary school.
Okay. Was it easy for you to say, I'm going to do that?
Yeah, as in like to like my parents, or to...
Yeah, everything. I mean, it can be quite exposing to say, I'm going to do something that's a bit more artistic. I don't know how it is here, but in France it's very, like, there are a lot of judgments around that kind of choice.
Yeah, I think I've always been so lucky to have parents and a family that supported my arty ways. You know, because I know other people whose parents wouldn't have it, and I think obviously they'd find that very hard to have to really push for it themselves. I never really had to push that hard to, you know, to want to perform, or to, you know, I've just been very lucky to have that belief behind me from my family. So no, it wasn't a big thing to convince people that I want to do it, or, I also just I didn't really have anything else I wanted to do at that moment in time, Yeah, I did the music course for a year and then was just working ever since, really.
Wow.
Working day jobs to do music, and ultimately then moved over to London to do more of the same. And it's been a wild road, really.
Yeah. And how do you find that balance between having a day job and
it is hard, yeah. It's been getting progressively harder, as we get older, and you want to have more money.
Yeah.
When you're in your early 20s or whatever, you don't really care about.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you don't really have big bills to pay or whatever. And you don't really care about what the job is either. Like, you're just kind of doing whatever to have a bit of money, and then you can go and gig around or record or whatever. But yeah, the older you get, you're like, no, I do actually want to have money. And I kind of have to care about what I'm doing during the day. And, you have a career as opposed to just a day job. But within that, then there's less time for yourself, isn't there? Like, yeah, so it does zap the time, which is the main killer, I suppose, or can be the main killer of creativity, is not having the mental space to create, to just sit and kind of let things come to you,
Yeah, because it can be exhausting as well, like transport, and then you're at work and then transport. And
yeah, I mean, especially here in London, like at least in Cork, you do have to drive everywhere, but the journeys aren't that long. Whereas over here, like sitting on a tube twice a day for 2 hours in a day, it can be exhausting. Kind of like you get to work sometimes, and you're like, God, I feel I've lived a whole day, and the work day is just starting. It's just, it can be relentless. But yeah, it's definitely harder to manage the balance, definitely, between putting energy into your day job and your career and creating. But I suppose it's it's ever evolving, isn't it? Yeah, it's just life. Yeah.
And do you have, I don't know, a routine or something to create the space for writing new songs? Or
it's maybe something I should have more of, I think. More of a routine in that. I definitely have a routine for, work and for all the other things. But I've never found that sitting down to write a song does anything, like it never comes that way. It always just comes like when you least expect it, but you have to be open to it, I suppose. What I more need to do is have a routine to create the space for that to happen, because I can't think of any time where sitting down to write a song actually worked.
Yeah.
My favorite songs of my own have always come to me kind of, as I say, out of nowhere, or when you're doing something else a bit mindless, a bit like a mindless job or something, or just going for a walk, things can come to you. But, and, trying to not be so plugged into your phone as well. Like, I don't know how you are when you travel around in London, but like...
It's hard to not be on your phone.
Yeah, and you might read a book, or you might listen to a podcast or listen to music to pass the time on the tube. But when you're plugged into something all the time, you're never like letting your brain do the processing it needs to do, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I definitely could have more routine when it comes to being creative, Because up to now, up to like whatever, the last 5-ish years or so, it's just kind of happened to come to me. But maybe as life goes on, you need to make more room for it,
Yeah. And when you write a song, how does it work? Do you start to have, I don't know, something in your head and you write it down, or is it different all the time?
It can be different. Like, there's one song that I released a couple of years ago called People Fall in Love. And that song was quite notable to me in that it just came to me like completely formed as a as a song.
That's a gift
in my head, as an idea and as a set of lyrics and as a tune, just like came, and I had to like record it in a little voice note on my phone. And when I got home from work that day, I just got the guitar and I was like, yeah, there are the chords, just like I thought. And
so you had like the everything.
The
rhythm,
the rhythm and the melody of it, and maybe not the full, like every single line, but I had like at least the first verse and maybe second verse and chorus, and I had enough to be like, this is most of a song.
Wow.
And even the chords themselves, like you can. I notice you have a guitar here. Do you play much? And like you might think, oh, I kind of feel it's got this kind of feel, or maybe you think, oh, that might sound nice with the key of C or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just even very sure that it was in a dropped D tuning, and I could just see the chords that I wanted to have. It was very strange, but brilliant. But most times it kind of can be a lyric or a line or an idea that will come to me again when I'm kind of doing something else, and I write it down, but it might not evolve into a song in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and then sometime later I'll be playing guitar and I'll come across a little tune or a riff or a chord progression, and I might search for in my head, like, well, the first thing that comes to my head, what is that? Does that fit? And then maybe I'll think, oh, what was that thing I said a few days ago? And I'll look at my notebook, and sometimes that fits. Mm-hmm. So that would be probably the most frequent way that it happens, that like there's ideas or lines sitting in notebooks or on my notes app or whatever, and I just match them up with a little tune I've found as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it can devolve that into just pure like work. There's like inspiration versus perspiration.
Yeah.
Some songs are all effort, and they're never the best ones though, But like I said, my favorite ones of mine just kind of come to me. And my next single, which is coming out next Friday, well, depends when this goes out on.
That will go out
on air,
way after, I think.
Right, so in the past.
It's out?
Yes, it's out now. And it's called Capelly Finn, which is a place in Wales. And like that now, me and my partner were down there for a weekend and took a stroll up a hill, and it was just such a lovely time. And I was on my break from work one day walking around the streets, and it just, like, the idea that I could write a kind of a folky tune about that came to me, and and also the walk could be like, a metaphor for the relationship, and when you set out on a walk, and that's kind of like when you set out on a relationship, you're kind of, the goals you have in mind or whatever. And that just came to me in one, and I kind of built the song in my head, like line by line, as I was walking around. And by the time I came back from my break, I had most of that song as well.
That's really cool.
So there was barely any work involved. I think I got stuck on one line, which I finished eventually, but everything else just like came to me in like little blocks in my head.
So this process can be quite fast. You don't.
Yeah, as I say, the best ones are fast. Yeah. There can be other ones that you spend ages on, and you think, oh, it's going to be great if I can just get this line, but it never really works out.
Have you ever spent like years on some songs?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Well, songs can kind of come back around, I think. I had this tune on the guitar which I loved, but I couldn't think of the right set of lyrics to it. And then when I was doing my first album in 2020, I needed a song to kind of finish the album, and I just kind of adapted this tune a bit, made it a bit slower, and then all of a sudden a different set of lyrics came to me, and that became the song Old Woman, which is the last song on my first album. But then that same tune on the guitar, I thought it sounded so good, sped up a bit, that I kind of readapted it again, and kind of almost how it was originally intended to be. And that then became my most recent single from last year, Native Home. So there's kind of two iterations of the same tune, but they're, done in different ways or whatever. So songs can kind of come back.
That's nice.
It's good when that happens, because like there's lots of little tunes I have, or older songs which maybe the chords were nice, but the lyrics are maybe 10, 15 years old and just not up to my standard nowadays, that sometimes they come back around and I'm like, I find the right set of lyrics for them to have another life, you know.
I'm very curious actually, how do you look at your past work? Is it like with a feeling of tenderness, or sometimes can you be a bit harsh with?
No, but with fondness. Yeah. That's nice. What's crazy is that Tootawl is 10 years old this year. I've been doing Tootawl for 10 years. My first EP came out in 2015. But I listen to it now and I can hear how kind of unpolished my own performance is in it, my singing, or I could hear how I would do it differently today. But I don't treat it with like disdain, or I don't think it's bad or anything like that. I think it's great, but
you're not like those artists who are like, this is terrible work, I should die.
No. Is there anything I don't? There's definitely things I don't like, or like clangers that I've made. I've written some terrible songs, but I think I view it like as like a patchwork, you know, like a tapestry. Like it's just all part of a wider collection of work that I overall I'm very proud of, you know.
That's really nice. I think it's a very healthy way to see it as well. Like I have a dance teacher and she's like, every time I'm performing, it just feels like the next part of my previous performance. So my life is just like one long performance. And then you're not too precious about one.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, and I think in recent years, I've kind of maybe been a bit like heavy on trying to make the next thing like
better in quality.
You know, there's every time trying to top the last thing. But like you said, I think you have to view it all as one big performance, and there's different elements and different kind of textures to the different parts of the performance, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
So I think you just need to chill out, you know.
It's a general rule for life.
And, you know, because it comes to with songwriting, like if you write a song that you really love, and you think it's really good, which is great. That's like the moments that I like live for. But then you feel the next one, like, what if the next one isn't as good? You're like, oh, that's going to be bad. But you have to you write that one too, because
otherwise you stop.
Yeah.
And when you start writing a song, and it's a lot of effort, and how is it for you to let it go? I feel like when you've spent time and researched something, like you're so invested that sometimes it's a bit hard to say, oh, actually it's not working. And I'm going to completely let that go.
That's a good question, yeah. It takes a while, actually. I did that with a song recently. And it's another example, actually, of when a song comes back from the past and I try to readapt or update the lyrics to it, because the song was written 12 years ago or something. And at the time I liked it. I really liked the tune, but the lyrics weren't quite there, and I tried to update it, but I couldn't find the right topic to sing about, and it all just felt too much effort, or too much, like there was no inspiration about it. It didn't feel it didn't feel inspiring. But I wrote lyrics eventually, and I was like, yeah, okay. So we recorded the lyrics and got quite far with it and did a lot of work on it, until quite recently I was like, actually no, I'm not gonna release that. And thankfully we'd done 2 other songs which I am releasing, but you need to know when something isn't working. And I've also done that with a music video as well that I spent quite a lot of money on. And just saw the finished thing and I was like, you know what? No, this isn't good. And it was my idea, you know, it was nobody else's fault. It just wasn't a good idea. And I was like, you know, you could just put this out.
What was this idea?
Oh, jeez.
No, but I think it's so nice to also talk about the stuff that's not working.
Yeah, well, I won't go into full detail, but it involved a sock puppet.
Okay.
And a kissing booth.
Okay.
I don't really know what the story was from there. I thought that would be enough to carry it for 3.5 minutes, but we tried our best. But it just didn't work.
That's so funny.
But I could have put it out. I could have just released it put it on YouTube or whatever. You know, with the amount of money I spent on it, I like maybe should have in terms of like financially.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't stand over it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's why I feel mostly proud of my back catalogue, is that I think I've made decisions like that I haven't just thrown everything at the wall. You know, I've really kind of made some.
And is it something you've learned to do, or is it something that feels quite intuitive and easy?
Intuitive, I think, but it's definitely not easy to make a decision like that because because you've put so much effort into it, you know. Yeah, it feels more intuitive, I think. That's why I can stand over my back catalogue a bit easier. And there's still songs in the back catalogue that I like don't love, or I feel like could be better or whatever. So I'm not saying that I love all of it, you know, but I just feel that at the time that I put it out, I really believed in it. I think that's what I like, you know.
And what's your relationship to your audience, your peers as well?
My peers?
Yeah.
In what sense do you mean?
Like, do you feel any pressure to kind of like, I don't know if someone listens to your music and likes it. Do you feel that? Or like, I know that sometimes, especially in dance, if I feel like I'm doing something that's going to be seen by someone whose work I admire, I feel some pressure.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I try and not let that influence me too much.
Teach me.
Yeah, I try not to. I think, let's say I have a song called Roger Fenton's Wagon, and that seems to go down well. Maybe not many people whistle, but I've
not me.
You can't whistle.
No.
You think, yeah, that's a skill I've built up over time. But I've been told by people like you should like include more whistling in your newer write more whistling songs.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I could, I suppose. But then I think it wouldn't like that. That would be me trying to create something along a certain line to appeal to certain people. Whereas that song just came out of nowhere. Like, I didn't like notice that people might like whistling and then decide to write that song.
Yeah.
It came because I wanted to write a song. I just wanted to write a spaghetti western song, and I like to whistle. So, but it's nice that it goes down well. But I think what I really feel is that like the best things like that come from random decisions. It doesn't come from like, you know, trend analysis or like market research.
Algorithms.
Yeah. I'm sure you can do it that way, but that's not the way I like to do it anyway, you know. So, and you know, my musical heroes like Bob Dylan and Neil Young and people like that, they didn't give a shit about you know, what people wanted. Like Neil Young especially, like, would just make one album which was hugely successful, and then people would want more of that sound, but he would just do something else. And obviously I'm on a much tinier scale than him, but like, you know, that ethos is something I really admire. And you know, even like that song comes from a concept album about the first war photographer called Roger Fenton and his photographic wagon, which was a crazy idea. You know, like I always loved concept albums, but
very niche.
It's very niche, yeah. But and I had that idea for years before I actually did it. But it took lockdown to happen before like I was like, oh, maybe this is a lockdown thing, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like I was really ready for it to like not be bad. You know, I wouldn't have released it if I thought it was bad, but just to not like resonate with anybody, you know, because it is such a niche thing, and it's a concept album, but it's not a musical. You know, it doesn't really tell a coherent story. It's more just like songs about people who were there, and yeah. So I was really ready for it not to do anything, you know.
Yeah.
But at the very least has kind of spawned that song that people really respond to live.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't have planned that in any way, do you know?
Yeah, I think there's something about these very niche things. It's so like, even if you read a poem that's super specific, sometimes it touches you a bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, the specifics can actually be more universal, can't they? Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you try to write something that is universal, or, you know, it appeals to nobody, you know?
Yeah, it's so like vague and it's a bit like...
Yeah. And when I was writing that album, obviously about very specific people in a very specific time, you're still drawing from universal feelings of, you know, loneliness or, you know, love or, you know, it's the specifics that like get the point across, like, isn't it?
Yeah. Do you have inspirations, recommendations?
Like things that are inspiring me recently?
Yeah.
I was saying there just before we were recording that I play a good few of these Irish cover gigs recently that I find is giving me lots of inspiration. In a kind of just a feeling, you know?
Yeah.
And it hasn't crystallized into anything solid yet, but I can feel like I'm drawing great enjoyment from it.
It's a good start, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing of like playing with a trad group is fantastic, and I realized it actually had been quite a while since I had played live with anybody. You know, I was in a band back home for years before I moved over here, but it had been a long time since I'd played music with people together at the same time. Like even when you're recording, sometimes it can be like one person does one thing and then they do the drums and then we do, like, you're not playing at the one time.
Yeah.
So it had been a long time since that happened.
And how does it feel?
It feels great. Now, you know, when you're playing like traditional Irish songs, but that's the interesting like crossover for me, is that I'm playing with great musicians in a very specific field, you know. So I'm kind of like getting more and more in touch with the kind of Irish trad side of writing, I suppose, you know. So I can feel something happening. And even though the single, which is out now at this time,
listen to it,
has a traditional feel to it, that was written maybe 2 years ago. At this point, it takes so long to get things out. But even that coming out now is kind of like coinciding with that feeling, you know? So yeah, I can feel something happening. And maybe I'll kind of lean more into a traditional kind of side of or style of writing. Because I think you can exist in a certain place creatively for a while, but then you kind of run out of ideas, like run out of ways to say something.
Yeah.
And that was what I was doing too with the concept album, is a different way to say something. And there's only so many times you can write about yourself as well. You know, no one's that interesting really. So you have to write about other things. And maybe what I'm discovering is, here's a new place for me to write from. And I also, in the last year and a bit, have a bouzouki, which is
what's that?
It's a Greek instrument, but also taken on by lots of Irish trad players.
Yeah.
It's like a big mandolin.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to like combine all those things, you know? Like a different instrument is great for finding a new way to say something musically. Like you could be playing the same chords, but it sounds a bit different. So that's a new thing. And then a different mental sphere to be in.
Yeah.
So I can feel something stirring.
Okay.
Because as I say, it's hard to find the time and the space to be creative as it is, but especially when you feel it's kind of a bit stale in your creative space, you know?
Yeah.
Like the things you're saying, you're like, I've said this before. Or like, you know, like it is very exciting to find that new kind of angle. You know?
That's really exciting. Okay, the random questions of the end.
Ooh.
What makes you laugh?
Really silly things. Just like, just really stupid stuff, you know? Sometimes I just make myself laugh in my own head. Yeah.
Do you believe in talent?
Yeah, I do. And I think people have talent when they don't, or I believe in like the nurturing of talent, you know, because even just speaking for myself, I can look back on my own singing or guitar playing and I can hear how it's come on. And I would look back on myself and say, God, I thought I was better, but at the time you think you're at the best you can be, but then you just keep nurturing that talent and let's say some people think they can't sing, but I think they can.
Yeah.
You know, they just haven't nurtured it.
Yeah.
So they think, oh, I can't sing, I've got no talent. But like they do. They just, because I, you know, singing and performing and whatever, music, such a huge part of my life now. But there was a time in my life where I felt like that maybe wasn't what I could do, or I felt too shy to sing, or, you know, your technique wasn't there or something. But or maybe what I'm saying is people confuse like good technique with talent. Do you know, people can develop technique, but talent is like what's underneath that. Yeah. So I think yes, it exists.
If you could have dinner with anyone, alive or dead, who would you choose?
I'm going to be, very obvious here. Do you want to? I was going to say Bob Dylan, but I don't think we'd say very much. Who else would I say? Michael Collins, maybe? I don't know. I never really think about that kind of stuff, really. Because also I think, you know, the phrase of never meet your heroes is very true.
Yes.
And especially in this day and age when many people's heroes turn out to be terrible people, you know,
I know.
You're half afraid that
it's really
they'll do
tricky.
or say something or find out something about them that will let you down. So then you think about, well, why do I have heroes at all if you're just...
If everybody's...
if everyone's bad. Yeah. So really, I don't... No, I take it all back. I want to have dinner with anybody.
By myself.
Yes, dinner for one.
If you could live a parallel life, what would you do?
A parallel life?
So you still have your life, but just another optional one.
Like a double life?
Yeah, like a double life.
Wow.
And you can do anything.
The only thing that's popping into my head is to be like an archaeologist.
Wow.
On a very interesting dig. I love uncovering, you know, secrets of the past, you know, like, and I'm fascinated by old things and the secrets that they hold. Oh. But I don't know.
Do you have any dream for the future?
Yeah, the dream in this day and age, like, at the very least, you're like, well, I hope the world doesn't explode or burn up, you know. That's the very least. That's like ground level. But you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we're not going towards the right direction.
Yeah, so sometimes you're like, to have a dream beyond that is like, well,
it's a bit
is
much.
It realistic? Yeah, you know, lofty dream to be happy in this world. But no, I think a younger me might have said, like, would have had very kind of specific things to dream about. But yeah, the older you get, I think you're just like, I just want to be happy, fulfilled, you know, mentally, emotionally, creatively, and like whatever that means.
Yeah.
Is what it means. But yeah, they're the things that become most important to you, I think. Yeah.
Nice. I don't know if you want to play something actually with the guitar.
Maybe.
Sometimes I've had musicians do that and I love it. So to finish with, let me give you a bit of space.
To mark, as I was saying, Tootawl being 10 years old,
wow.
I'll do a song from my first EP called House on the Moon. The EP is called House on the Moon, and the song that I'm going to play is called House on the Moon. Yeah, which was the first song that I thought, coming out of the band that I was in, that this was kind of like the sound I wanted for the next thing, which is going to be Tootawl, you know? So it's called House on the Moon. I have become the finger to the thumb, the earth to the sun, the plural to the one. I have seen things, wrongly crowned kings, broken guitar strings, still the princess sings, perched on a ledge, close to the edge, If she should fall, who will be there but I? She's a closed book, too afraid to look down through the ages. She's flicking through the pages. Book on a shelf, shelf in a room, room in a house, house on the moon. Thanks very much. A very, very chilled version of it there.